Welcome back to a special double feature edition of AI Unraveled. Today, we are exploring the hidden economy. There are two massive shifts happening right now that you cannot see on a spreadsheet. First, business to agent, or B2A. The era of marketing to humans is ending. We are entering a world where machine customers, autonomous software agents, will drive trillions of dollars in revenue. These bots don't care about your logo or your Super Bowl ad. They care about your API uptime and your data structure. If you aren't optimized for the machine eye, your brand is effectively invisible. Second, inside your own company, a rebellion is brewing. A new report reveals that 98% of organizations have a shadow AI problem. Employees are tired of waiting for IT approval, so they are building their own parallel infrastructure, running secret models on their laptops and bypassing security to get the job done. In this episode, we connect the dots between the bots that buy and the employees that hide. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. Now let's unravel the hidden economy.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. We are recording this on Thursday, February 5, 2026, and today we are tearing up the script.
Really are.
Usually we look at market trends or we look at corporate strategy, but today we are realizing that those two things they've completely decoupled.
It's a bifurcated reality. I mean, that's the only way to describe it. We're sitting here in 2026, and if you just look at the surface, the press releases, the big Super Bowl ads, the quarterly reports, everything looks like business as usual.
Right, the corporate narrative is intact.
Exactly. But if you peel back the skin of the global economy, the actual mechanics, the plumbing of how business is being done, it's fundamentally mutated.
Mutated is the perfect word. We have two massive, almost tectonic shifts colliding today. On one side, you've got the external world, how companies actually sell things.
Right.
That has been completely taken over by what we're starting to call the B2A revolution, business to agent.
And we'll get into that. It's a whole new world.
But then on the internal side, inside the actual office walls, there is a full-blown rebellion happening, quietly.
The shadow AI rebellion.
Exactly. While the boardroom is celebrating their 3-year AI roadmap that they just got approved.
The one they spent 6 months in committee meetings on.
That's the one. Meanwhile, the break room, or maybe just a single developer's laptop, has already built something faster, smarter, and critically, completely invisible to the company.
So today is really a tale of two AIs. The one you think you're controlling and the one that's actually running your business from the shadows.
So we're going to unravel both sides of this coin. The machines that are now buying your products and the machines your employees are secretly building just to survive their workday.
It's high stakes.
Yeah.
And I think we have to start with the external shock first, because that really sets the context for the internal panic that's driving all this.
Let's do it. So let's talk about the new customer, the non-human customer.
Right. We're talking about machine customers.
Yeah.
For what, a century, marketing has been about convincing a human, me, you, anyone listening, to feel something about a product.
You're selling a vibe. You're selling trust in a logo.
It was emotional manipulation, essentially. We spent billions, trillions probably, on colors, on jingles, on brand purpose, and storytelling.
But in 2026, the shocking thing is, humans aren't the ones swiping the credit card anymore. Not for most things.
And that brings us to this concept of the Ruthless Arbiter.
Okay, unpack that.
A machine customer, which is, an autonomous AI agent acting on behalf of a human, it does not care about your Super Bowl ad.
Zero emotional connection.
None.
Yeah.
It doesn't care about your influencer partnership or your slick new logo. It cares about math. Pure, cold, hard math. It optimizes for price, for delivery speed, for durability, for specification match, for API response time.
It's ruthless because it has absolutely no brand loyalty. Loyalty is an inefficient human emotion.
Exactly. Loyalty can't be quantified on its spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So paint a picture for us. I want to buy a new refrigerator. In the old days, say 2022, what did I do?
You'd go to a big box store, you'd walk around, you'd open some doors, maybe talk to a guy named Dave in a polo shirt, you'd read some reviews online.
A very human, very friction-filled process.
Right. Today, what happens?
Today, you just speak to your personal agent. You say, I need a fridge, stainless steel, under $2,000, must have one of those craft ice makers, and I need it delivered by Tuesday. That's it.
And then you go back to watching Netflix, your part in the transaction is over.
Your part is done. In the background, Your agent, let's call it Moltbot, which is a really common buying agent model right now,
Yeah.
goes out to the network. And it doesn't visit websites. Websites are for humans.
So where does it go?
It hits APIs, application programming interfaces. It engages directly, machine to machine, with the selling agents of Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, and the retailers.
So it's a bot-to-bot negotiation happening in the background.
In milliseconds. Moltbot is talking to, say, Gemini, which is the sales agent for a big retailer. They're negotiating price, they're checking inventory in real time, they're booking delivery windows, and they're finalizing warranty terms.
And this all happens on what you call the invisible shelf.
Yes. If your product isn't optimized for machine readability, if its specs aren't perfectly structured, if its API is slow, you aren't just on the bottom shelf at the store.
You're not even in the store.
You do not exist. As far as the new economy is concerned, your product is invisible.
This is terrifying if you're a chief marketing officer. It completely destroys the traditional marketing stack. My beautiful website,
Irrelevant.
my carefully crafted SEO strategy that I spent millions on.
Dead. SEO is dead. Long live AIO.
Agent optimization.
Exactly. The new marketing game isn't about keywords and backlinks. It's about structured data. It's about having a clean, fast, well-documented API. It's about adopting something like the Universal Commerce Protocol, or UCP.
So the mantra for 2026 is your API is your new landing page.
That is the line that should be on a plaque in every boardroom. If a machine can't query your inventory and negotiate a price via your API in under 200 milliseconds, you lose the sale. Full stop. You lose it to a competitor who can.
And this just creates an incredible amount of pressure on companies. They have to move at machine speed. They have to be algorithmically legible.
And that pressure, that external pressure, is the perfect bridge to the second half of our investigation today.
Right.
Because while the market outside is moving at the speed of light, the internal corporate machinery, it's grinding its gears. It's stuck in the mud.
Okay, so let's pivot. Let's go from the outside world to inside the company walls. Because this is where the rebellion is brewing.
This is where we enter the shadows.
So companies are facing this machine speed market. The boardroom, they're not dumb. They know they need AI to keep up.
They see the writing on the wall.
So they've dumped, and we checked these numbers twice because they are just insane, somewhere between $30 and $40 billion into official top-down AI adoption initiatives.
That's billion with a B. A massive, massive injection of capital into a new technology.
And here is the punchline. This is what we're calling the Gen AI divide. 95%. 95% of these official sanctioned initiatives have had zero measurable impact on the P&L.
Nothing. A rounding error. All that money, all those consulting fees, and it hasn't moved the needle one bit.
We call it pilot purgatory.
That's a great term for it. You have these massive companies, Fortune 500s, running these little proof of concept trials that just never, ever end. They're official, they're compliant, they're governed.
And they're completely useless.
Utterly useless.
So the big question is why? Why is the official stuff failing so spectacularly?
It's because it's brittle. It's designed by committees. It has to be approved by legal, and then it's restricted and waterboarded by IT security.
It's been sanitized to the point of being lobotomized.
Precisely. By the time an employee actually gets access to the official enterprise copilot, it has so many guardrails it can barely do basic math. And it's probably running on a model that's 6 months, maybe a year out of date.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the divide, the underground AI stack is absolutely flourishing.
It's exploding. We're seeing shadow AI traffic has surged 890% year over year.
890%, that's not growth, that's a Cambrian explosion. It's nearly a 10x increase in 1 year. It's not a leak, it's a flood.
So today really isn't about the AI the company bought. That's the boring story. It's about the AI the employees built or downloaded or tamed.
We are investigating the shadow AI economy.
And it's important that we really define our terms here. We need to define shadow intelligence, because it's different from the shadow IT we all remember from the past.
Right. Shadow IT in the 2010s was, I'm using Dropbox because the corporate file server is terrible and I can't email this 50 megabyte file.
Exactly. That was unauthorized storage. Or maybe unauthorized collaboration, like using Slack before it was approved. This is completely different. This is unauthorized cognition.
Unauthorized cognition. I like that. So employees are deploying their own intelligence layers.
They are. Browser copilots that read their emails, personal LLMs that write their reports, and, as we'll get into, local open source models that analyze sensitive data completely offline. They're using these things to do the actual thinking part of their jobs.
It's like everyone in the company secretly hired a genius consultant to sit under their desk, and they didn't tell HR.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And this infrastructure of stealth, as we're calling it, has already infected 98% of the Fortune 500.
98%. So let's just be crystal clear for anyone listening. If you're in a leadership position and you think, not my company, we have strict policies, we block those websites,
You're wrong.
you are almost certainly wrong. It's there, you just can't see it.
Which is the entire point.
Yeah. Okay, so let's debunk a myth. Who is actually doing this? Because the C-suite stereotype is it's the Gen Z intern, right? The digital native who doesn't respect authority and just does whatever they want.
That's the easy narrative. It's the kids.
Hmm.
But the data, the actual survey data of who is using these tools shows the complete opposite.
It's not the interns.
It's the bosses. Senior executives and mid-level managers report some of the absolute highest rates of regular daily usage of unsanctioned AI tools.
The VPs are the ones breaking the rules.
Of course they are. They're the ones in what we call the productivity pressure cooker. They're the ones who have to deliver the strategy decks, the market analysis, the quarterly financial projections. They know the official tools are too slow and stupid to help them.
So they go rogue out of necessity.
They have to. Look at the generational breakdown. Gen Z is high, sure, 85% usage, but millennials are right there at 78%. But the shocker? Boomers are at 73%.
73% of boomers in the workforce are using shadow AI. So grandma is running a local LLM to get her reports done on time.
If it saves her 5 hours of tedious work and helps her hit a deadline, she absolutely is. And she's probably figured out how to do it better than anyone.
And it seems to be driven by this really bizarre hiring paradox.
Oh, this is a key driver.
Yeah.
We see that 66% of leaders, 2/3, say they will not hire someone who doesn't have AI skills. It's a prerequisite now.
Okay, that makes sense. You need an AI literate workforce.
But, and this is the paradox, only 25% of those same companies actually provide any AI training.
So, let me get this straight. We won't hire you unless you have the skill, but we refuse to teach you this skill.
Precisely. So what does the employee do? They have to self-subsidize their own professional development. They have to bring your own AI or BYO AI. Because if they don't, they know they'll become obsolete and unemployable.
They are subsidizing corporate innovation with their own time and their own tools just to stay relevant.
It's not rebellion. It's survival. And that's why we see this speed outweighs security mindset. 60% of employees openly admit they will use an unsanctioned tool if it helps them meet a deadline.
The business imperative of get it done will always trump the IT policy of don't do that.
Every single time.
There's another angle here too, the workflow disconnect. Why do the official tools fail so badly even when they exist?
Because they're bolted on. They're these awkward, brittle systems that are jammed into an existing process. They don't feel native. They don't have the context of your work.
Whereas the shadow tools?
The shadow tools offer what we call agentic autonomy. They can reason, they can plan, and they can execute multi-step tasks. They're context-aware because they're running in your browser, seeing your screen. They're persistent. They learn.
And there's also a front office bias, isn't there, in terms of where the official budget goes?
A huge one. Companies are spending something like 70% of their official AI budgets on the front office. Sales, marketing, the glamorous stuff.
So the back office gets left behind.
Completely starved. Legal, accounting, HR, operations. These overlooked departments are the prime drivers, the super users of shadow AI because they've been given nothing, yet their workloads have doubled.
Okay, so I want to get really technical now because this has evolved so far beyond just people using ChatGPT in a Chrome tab. That's level one. It's too easy for IT to catch.
That is amateur hour. Basic network monitoring and DLP, data loss prevention, tools catch that in a heartbeat. The real rebellion is much more sophisticated.
So let's really dig into this underground tech stack. If I'm a sophisticated employee in 2026 and I want to use powerful AI without IT ever knowing, what am I doing?
You're moving to local inference. That's the key term. You're taking the AI off the cloud and putting it directly on the metal of your laptop.
Running it locally. Talk me through the tools. What are the names people should know?
The two names you see over and over in the underground forums and on developer communities are Llama and LM Studio.
And what do they do?
They're essentially easy-to-use platforms that let you download and run powerful open-source models completely offline.
So I can just go download a model like Llama 3 or Mistral or one of the new Qwen models?
And run it locally on your machine. You install a Llama, you type one command in the terminal, and 5 minutes later you have a private local version of ChatGPT running on your computer.
Why go to all this trouble? What are the big advantages?
4 things. First, and most important, is visibility, or lack thereof. If I run a Llama on my laptop's GPU, no data leaves my machine.
So the corporate firewall sees nothing? The DLP scanners see nothing?
Not a sausage. It's completely invisible to network-level monitoring. It is the definition of stealth productivity.
Okay, what's the second advantage?
Latency. There is zero cloud lag. The response is instantaneous because the computation is happening 3 inches from your keyboard, not in a data center 1,000 miles away. Privacy from your employer. IT can't see what you're prompting. You can paste in sensitive company data, strategic plans, employee reviews, whatever, and you know it's not being logged or used for training by some third-party cloud provider.
And the fourth reason?
Bypassing censorship and guardrails. The official corporate AI will refuse to answer a question or lecture you about policy. A local, uncensored model will just write the code, draft the aggressive email, or analyze the competitor's document without judgment.
But this must require a beast of a computer, right? My standard issue corporate laptop can't do this.
And that is what's fueling the secret hardware arms race happening inside every major company.
The hardware arms race. Tell me more.
Employees are suddenly petitioning for high-performance workstations. The official justification is always something plausible, like, oh, I need it for these complex Excel models, or I'm doing more video rendering.
But what they really need is the RAM.
The VRAM. Video RAM. That is the currency of the AI rebellion. The throughput, the speed at which a model can run, is determined by memory bandwidth. Your average laptop with its integrated graphics is useless.
So what are the specs they're looking for?
It's all about the dedicated GPU. If you want to run a small model, under 3 billion parameters, just for simple tasks, you can get away with 4 to 6 gigs of RAM.
Okay.
But the sweet spot, the models that are actually useful for coding and productivity, those are in the 7 to 14 billion parameter range. For that, you need 8 to 12 gigabytes of VRAM.
So you're talking about a pretty high-end gaming laptop.
Exactly. We're seeing a lot of gaming laptops suddenly appearing in the accounting department. But if you want the real deal, what we call high-complexity reasoning, a 30 to 70 billion parameter model that can actually think through complex strategy.
Then what do you need?
Then you need 24 to 48 gigabytes of VRAM. That is serious prosumer or workstation-grade hardware. We're talking NVIDIA RTX 4090s.
And employees are buying this stuff themselves.
Sometimes. Or they're getting creative with their expense reports. Or they're building a powerful server at home and securely tunneling into it from the office. The ingenuity is incredible.
And this is where the smaller models, the SLMs, come in, right? The small language models?
Yes. They are the unsung heroes of the shadow stack. Models under 7 billion parameters, like Phi-3 or some of the Mistral variants, are achieving 90% of the performance of the giants for specific, narrow tasks. And they can run on much more modest hardware.
So you can have a really capable coding assistant that fits within 8 gigs of VRAM.
Absolutely. It's a decentralized army of specialized bots, not one giant brain in the cloud.
This all sounds incredibly empowering for the employee. They're building their own super tools. But let's flip the script. If I'm the Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO listening to this.
You are terrified. Your hair should be on fire. This is a 5-alarm security nightmare.
Let's start with what you call the visibility crisis.
Okay. The average large organization, according to recent audits, thinks it is tracking about 108 different cloud services.
Okay, 108. That's what's on the official dashboard.
That's what's on the official dashboard. The actual number, when they do a deep network analysis, is over 975.
Wow, so it's nearly a 10x gap between what they think they see and what's actually running on their network.
It's a visibility debt of catastrophic proportions. And that's just for cloud services. It doesn't even account for the local inference we just talked about, which is completely invisible.
And if a breach happens that involves this shadow AI, what's the detection time?
It's abysmal. The average detection time for a sophisticated breach is between 181 and 247 days.
6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months of an attacker potentially living inside your network, training your own AI on your data, or exfiltrating it before you even were there.
And you mentioned something truly terrifying, the idea of exposed local servers. I thought the point of local was that it's offline.
It should be. But people make mistakes. We found in a recent internet scan over 1,100 publicly accessible Llama servers broadcasting to the world.
How does that even happen?
An employee sets it up on their machine. It works great. Then they think, You know what? It would be cool if I could access this from my phone while I'm at lunch. So they tinker with the network configuration, they open a port to the outside world.
And they punch a hole straight through the corporate firewall.
Exactly. And now their internal AI, which has been reading all their emails, all their code, all their strategic documents, is effectively a public website waiting to be discovered.
And the financial cost of this?
It's staggering. The average data breach in the U.S. is now over $10 million. 10.22 to be precise.
And shadow AI makes it worse.
It adds a penalty on top. The forensics are so much more complex that a breach involving shadow AI costs, on average, an extra $670,000.
And it's not just the cost, it's what's being lost. We're talking about intellectual property, right?
Absolutely. 40% of these breaches involve compromised IP. 65% involve PII, personally identifiable information, and then you have the heavy user risk.
The developers
And data scientists. They only account for about 0.4% of total shadow AI usage in terms of volume, but their sessions have a 14-fold concentration of sensitive data exposure.
Because they're pasting in API tokens, database credentials, secret keys.
The keys to the kingdom. One mistake from one developer can be a company-ending event.
And this opens up entirely new attack vectors, things we haven't had to worry about before, like prompt leakage.
Right. Attackers have figured out that you can trick a model into revealing its own system prompt or the custom instructions it was given. Success rates for these attacks are now as high as 86%.
So you can steal the secret sauce of a custom-built AI.
You can. But the really scary one, the one that keeps security professionals up at night, is model poisoning.
Okay, this sounds like something out of a spy movie.
It basically is. Imagine you're an employee and you go to a public forum to download a cool new open source model. Everyone says it's great at writing Python code.
Seems harmless enough.
But that model is a sleeper agent. It's a Trojan horse. It works perfectly fine for weeks, maybe months. But hidden deep in its neural weights is a malicious trigger.
A trigger for what?
For anything the attacker wants.
Yeah.
Maybe if the model sees your company's internal IP address range, it starts silently inserting subtle security vulnerabilities into all the code it writes.
No.
Or maybe if it sees a document with the word confidential, it starts covertly exfiltrating that data to a remote server.
And because it's running locally, as a math file on the GPU, your antivirus software doesn't see it. Your network scanner doesn't see it.
It sees nothing. It's the perfect crime. It's the Stuxnet of the AI era.
Yeah.
A weaponized, intelligent agent deployed inside your walls by your own employees.
This isn't theoretical. We have real-world casualties from this kind of behavior already.
Oh, absolutely. The classic cautionary tale is Samsung Semiconductor.
What happened there?
Engineers, trying to be efficient, pasted proprietary top-secret semiconductor source code directly into the public ChatGPT interface to help them debug it.
Wow.
And they did it 3 times in 3 weeks. That code, that crown jewel IP, is now part of the training data of a public model forever.
So Samsung lost control of its most valuable asset.
Completely. They were forced to build their own internal private AI from scratch after that and banned all public tools.
Then you had Amazon.
A slightly different problem, the data mirroring incident. Employees noticed that ChatGPT's responses started to sound familiar. It was mirroring internal Amazon data, project code names, strategy language.
So it had ingested so much Amazon data from employees that it learned their secrets and just started giving them back to anyone who asked the right way.
That's the theory. They immediately banned sharing any code with external AI providers.
And then the entire finance sector, JP Morgan, Citi, Goldman Sachs, they all brought down the hammer in 2023. Hard bans on ChatGPT.
They saw the risk immediately. But here's the fundamental problem with banning.
It just doesn't work.
It never works. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. And we have a perfect historical parallel for this. We have to look at Google in 2005.
A flashback. Okay.
In 2005, a small but significant number of companies, about 4%, banned Google. They banned search engines.
What was the argument?
The same as today. It's a security risk. Search engines are biased and inaccurate. Employees will just waste time surfing the web instead of working.
It sounds identical to the arguments against AI now.
It's the exact same playbook.
Yeah.
And what was the result? In companies that banned search, employees reported that their work became boring and incredibly difficult. Banning a foundational tool made the company less competitive.
It became operationally absurd.
That's the perfect phrase. You cannot ban a professional utility. Banning AI in 2026 is like banning spreadsheets in the 1990s or banning email in the early 2000s. It's strategic suicide.
And people just work around it anyway. The workaround culture is unstoppable.
The data proves it. 45% of employees in companies with strict AI bans admit to using the banned tools anyway. They just go deeper underground.
They move from the public chat GPT website to the local Llama server we just talked about.
The ban pushes them from a semi-visible platform to a completely invisible one, making the security problem 10 times worse.
So this presents a real fork in the road for leadership. Path 1, prohibition.
Path 1 is the block and ban strategy. As we've seen, it fails because of the visibility debt. It just drives usage deeper underground into local LLMs and creates a false sense of security for the CISO.
So what is path 2?
Path 2 is managed legalization.
Legalize and standardize.
You have to. You have to treat this behavior not as a violation, but as a market signal.
A procurement signal.
It is the most powerful procurement signal you will ever receive. If your employees are risking their jobs to use a tool, it's not because they're bad people, it's because they need that tool to do their job effectively. The official alternative you've provided is inadequate.
So you bring it into the light. How do you do that safely?
You create curated tool repositories and secure enterprise wrappers. You say, okay, you want to use that powerful open source model, great. But you have to use our version of it running in our secure sandbox, where we can log the activity and scan the model for threats.
You provide a safe, appealing alternative to the Wild West.
And you attach policy to the user, not the device. Identity-aware governance. It doesn't matter if they're on a corporate laptop or a personal phone, the same rules apply to their identity.
And you mentioned creating a new role, the agent manager.
This is critical. You have to formalize the role of these shadow innovators. Find the rebels. Find the person in accounting who is running Llama 3 on their gaming rig to automate financial reports.
Instead of firing them,
you promote them. You make them the agent manager. You give them a budget because that person knows more about the practical, real-world application of AI in your business than your entire multi-million-dollar consulting engagement does.
You turn the poacher into the gamekeeper.
Precisely. Because you have to get ready for what's coming next. We're heading toward a future of sovereign AI.
Okay, what does that look like? Let's look ahead to 2027 and beyond.
We're going to see a big shift away from these giant centralized cloud brains like GPT-4. The power is moving to the edge, to on-device intelligence. Control is going to fragment down to the individual worker.
And every worker will have what you call a second being.
That sounds a bit philosophical, but it's the right way to think about it. It's not a tool you open and close. It's a persistent AI apprentice that lives on your device. It learns your context, your projects, your communication style, and it evolves with you over your entire career.
It's a true partner, not just a smarter version of Clippy.
And these agents will talk to each other. We're seeing new protocols being developed like MCP, the Model Context Protocol, and NANDA that allow these autonomous agents to coordinate and collaborate without human intervention. The agentic web.
But there is a huge danger lurking in that future, isn't there? Something you call skills erosion.
That is the final provocative question we have to grapple with. If the AI does all the reasoning, if the AI writes all the code, if the AI negotiates with the machine customers we talked about at the very start, do we forget how to do it ourselves?
It's the Wall-E scenario for the enterprise. We become so reliant on the automation that we lose the underlying capability.
We risk depleting our enterprise memory. Think about it. If the entire system breaks one day, if the AI can't fix it, is there any human left in the building who understands how the business actually works at a fundamental level?
That is the question to end on. As we rush to build these superpowered agents, both for selling our products and for doing our internal work, are we just automating ourselves out of competency?
It's the ultimate trade-off we're making, maybe without even realizing it. We're trading mastery for speed.
Well, this has been a massive deep dive. We've gone from the ruthless arbiters of the B2A revolution all the way to the secret servers humming under the desks as the Fortune 500.
The key takeaway, I think, is clear. The shadow AI economy isn't a bug. It's a feature of this new era. The enterprise no longer has a monopoly on capability. Intelligence is cheap, it's portable, and it's individually deployable now.
And the winning companies, the ones that survive this transition, won't be the ones with the strictest bans and the tallest walls.
No, they'll be the ones who find a way to illuminate the shadow stack and harness that energy, not suppress it.
So as we move toward 2030, are we building a workforce of superpowered agents, or are we slowly forgetting how to do the work ourselves?
That's the billion-dollar question.
Keep your eyes open, keep investigating, and stay unraveled. We'll see you next time.
That wraps up our deep dive. The signal for today is invisibility. Your new customers are invisible algorithms that shop via API. Your most productive employees are using invisible AI tools that bypass your security stack. The challenge for leaders in 2026 isn't just to adopt AI, it's to bring these invisible economies into the light. You need to structure your data for the bots, and you need to legalize the shadow stack for your people. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. Please subscribe and share. Until next time, keep unraveling the future.
And before you go, if your company is building the tools that power the workflows we talked about today, I'd love to showcase them to this audience. We don't just run ads, we build technical simulations that prove your value. Let's build something together. Visit jamgamind.com/partners to get started. Until next time, keep building.